Yes, I'm happy. Just checking. Well, yeah. Fair. We're joined now by Ole Miss head coach Yolette McPhee-McEwen and student athletes Angel Baker and Alana Eaton. Coach, if you begin with an opening statement, and then we will take questions for the student athletes.
Just really grateful for the win. Really glad how our team came out and played on both ends of the floor. One of the things that was a little concerning for me was the fouls. I thought we were just excited to play, and usually when we're excited, like ramped up like that, we'll foul. And then I just think once you get a couple, then, you know, it's human nature for people to always assume that that's what you're doing. So we'll have to clean that up. I don't think we would want to give South Carolina 28 free throws. Nevertheless, we were still with them making 25 free throws, holding them to 60 points. I thought it was a good effort overall. Really proud that I was able to play everybody that was healthy to play today. So we're just going to try to build on this.
Let's take questions for the student athletes. We'll start in the front.
This is for either of you, but I know you guys always say we defend. That was one of the hotter teams in the conference coming in. They were lighting up from three yesterday. You shut them down today. Just how much pride do you guys take in being able to do that?
We take a lot of pride in defending. When you think of Ole Miss, you think of defense. We dictate and we disrupt, so that's our identity, and we take a lot of pride in that.
In the front.
Angel, what went right tonight? I mean, you had something like 23 points. You were cooking. Like, what was good? What did you feel around your team? Yeah, say more.
The first couple shots went in, and then and then the rim got a little wider. But shout out to my teammates for putting me in positions to be efficient and score the ball.
Back here to the front on the left.
I don't know if you guys have gotten to think about it yet, but obviously South Carolina is coming up. How excited are you looking forward to that one?
It's pretty exciting. It's always a pleasure going up against the #1 team, but we respect all, we fear none. So.
Alana, you want to take that one too?
It's written on our board every day. Like she said, we respect all, we fear none. So like she said, it's an honor to play the #1 team, but we're coming in for a fight, and we have a good chance of winning, and we feel that way.
In the back.
Angel, for you, obviously you're a, I guess, kind of veteran in the college basketball world. Just how much does that experience kind of give you a lift, you know, in a tournament like this, where it's, you know, win on to the next, especially in a conference like the SEC?
I'm getting old, Jesus Christ. But I think it allows me to give my team some leadership and also poise when it's like a roller coaster during the games. Just trying to be a leader for my team, knowing that I've been here a few times. And, well, we have a lot of upperclassmen, but just trying to lead. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I have.
Here in the front.
In your eyes, like for both of y'all, how has this season gone? You know, what have been the ups, what have been the downs, and what do you feel like y'all still have to work on, you know, knowing that there's more to come even post tomorrow?
Well, I feel like that all teams go through ups and downs. You go through ebbs and flows throughout the season. As Coach O has always said, we want to make sure that we keep going up. So I feel like being intentional about things that we didn't do good or things that she didn't like or ways that we do not play, which she stated, we just continue to try and get better at those things each and every day. And we're still climbing and we're still trying to get better each and every day.
The front on the left.
Ilana, you made all three of your threes today. At what point during the day, like, do you know that you have it? Is it before the game? Is it after the first one hits? Like, when do you know?
Well, Coach O and all of the coaches has put confidence in me to knock down shots. So I feel like that with that confidence, I feel like each one is going in. I feel like it all starts with my preparation, though. Getting in the gym with coaches, just staying ready and just being ready when my name is called, because that's my job to hit threes, and that's what I tried to do today.
In the front.
Angel, I want to go back to that matchup with South Carolina tomorrow. How much confidence can you guys take into that, knowing how you played them before, but also how much more difficult do you expect it to be, given that you took them to overtime last time?
I think we was able to learn a lot from the first game. we gonna go back to learn some stuff, fix some things. But I think the coach is gonna have a great plan for us, and we gonna just come out and do our best to execute that.
Any other questions for the student athletes? All right. Thank you, ladies. You can be dismissed.
Good job, y'all.
We will now take questions for Coach Yo.
You know, I know that you talk so much about how much you respect Don, and last time you talked about it too. Just how much do you look forward to these sorts of matchups against a mentor like that?
I mean, I'm excited about it. Is why I came to the SEC to be able to coach against, the likes of Don Staley, and at the time you had Vic Schaefer was in the league, and Gary Blair, and come on, those are some Hall of Fame coaches, and now you have Kim Mulkey in the league, and there are a lot of coaches in our league that has coached in the Final Four. So anytime I get to stand up on the sideline against one of the coaches in the SEC, I'm excited.
Go here in the front.
Kind of same question I had for Angel. How much confidence can you take knowing you guys were able to take South Carolina to overtime, but also knowing that because you did that, they're going to come very, very prepared?
Well, I want to, I don't think South Carolina is never prepared. They are a championship program. I've seen them move and shake. So I don't think they took us for granted. Let's not let that be the narrative. We really just played well and had a chance to beat them, and their experience kicked in. So as far as, I got a text from Don as soon as our game was over. So obviously there's a respect level with both teams, and I expect it to be a great game. And one of the things that'll be different, I won't have to convince my team that they can play with them this time. I can just focus on the X's and O's.
Over here to the right.
I was hoping you'd just speak to Angel. Had a great night tonight. Has been great all season. CCL first team. What does she mean to this team?
She's really an angel for us, literally. Angel came here, and like me, when I was, at Jacksonville, we would watch SEC games all the time and always envision having an opportunity maybe to be at this level. Same for her at Wright State. She used to watch SEC games all the time. So the fact that she's living what she watched coming up, there's a level of gratitude that you have, humility, but also excitement. And I think when you see Angel play, you're seeing a little bit of all of that. She is a vet on our team, and we're depending on her to help us go to this next step.
In the back.
Coach, if I remember correctly, after the South Carolina game, you were talking about, wanting to, be able to beat teams like, South Carolina, Tennessee, LSU. You do have that opportunity tomorrow to face South Carolina again. Just what do those wins kind of do, from a program building standpoint to, be able to play, teams like that and potentially be able to knock them off?
Yeah, here's the thing. When I first got the job, I always thought about wanting to beat the bottom teams first. I don't believe in skipping steps. You get what I'm saying? So, even in year 1 and 2, Don would always say, "Oh, yo, you're not gonna sneak me. I'm telling you, I see you." I'm like, I'm not even worried about you. I got to beat the bottom, and right now I'm at the bottom, so I got to climb my way up. But I said, when we do, then I'm gonna come after you. And this is our second year being in top 4, and there are only 3 teams that I hadn't beat, and I'm not gonna sleep until I do it. So I don't know if it's gonna be tomorrow. I don't know when it's gonna be. But if we want to be considered a top program like they are, then we have to go through them.
In the front on the left.
Ilana really seized her moment today. How, as a coach, do you keep players ready for whenever that moment comes for them?
When Ilana was in the office with me in the beginning of the year, I said, this is going to be a tough year for you. I'm surprised you want to come to Ole Miss because we guard, and you don't necessarily guard. And I said, so we're going to push you and really challenge you. But I said, Ilana, we recruited Ilana out of high school. So I said, if you would just stay with it all year, you're going to have a moment that's going to be huge. And so I treat the best, the number 1 player to the number 15 player the same. I spend time with them. I text them. We all have great relationships. I value them all as people. And I just kept telling her, like, you got to be ready to go. And I coach her just like how I coach Madison. And so she just understood that. And one of the things I enjoy about coaching Ilana, she's incredibly coachable. Like, you can get on her. She doesn't say, oh, you don't. She doesn't try to compare her journey to anybody else. Ilana is a competitor. So I felt good about her coming into the game because she had been real close, like rimming out, missing shots. And I just felt like tonight would be a good night for her.
Go over here on the right.
Just wanted to ask a little bit about Texas A&M.
Yeah.
What about, obviously y'all won pretty handily, but what about this team tonight is different from the rest of the Texas A&M season? And specifically also Janiyah Barker, like what did she bring that was tough?
Well, there are only few players that break my heart in the recruiting process, and Miss Barker was one of them. So obviously I have a lot of respect for her, and I'm really glad that she found a home with Joni. As far as Texas A&M is concerned, we were excited to play them because for us, we felt like we were playing a brand new team. And when you're in conference, and especially in conference play, it could get kind of like repetitive. Like, oh, we already played South Carolina. Had we played Mississippi State, like that would have been our 3rd time. I would have had to pump my kids up. It would have been a drag. But for Texas A&M, it was like a brand new team. They had 5 new players. So our team was like excited. And I thought that helped us prepare for them. We didn't take them for granted. We didn't even think about what happened in January. What was our 4th game? We are not even the same. So we were excited about the opportunity, and we weren't surprised though. Joni has coached in the championship game. She's a veteran coach, and and she showed it yesterday. So we played for 40. We played hard tonight. We didn't take them for granted. We respect everybody.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to the back first.
Coach, a big kind of talking point when people play against South Carolina is, kind of the size in the post.
Yeah.
Obviously with, Leah Boston, and then they have Cardoso, Saxton, things like that. I guess from a, preparation standpoint, what are some ways, in which I guess that preparation is different, playing a team with that kind of size versus, some of the obviously other teams and other styles that you face?
Well, I think that, I almost gave a game plan away, and I'm Team SEC, so I don't want someone to. Here's the thing. When you play South Carolina, you just can't be defeated. They are who they are. They're going to rebound. And as long as you fight, you should have a chance. But what makes them so difficult is they're like a tsunami wave. They don't stop. So Aaliyah Boston and all of them, they'll start, and then they bring in another 6'6", and then a dunker will come in, and then a vet, all freshman team. And then they got about 5 All-Americans that are chomping at the bit. And so you just can't be defeated. You really have to run your own race when you play them. And so I thought that that's what we did last time, and I thought that was good for us. And we'll try to do it again.
Take one more here on the right.
I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to your transfer class this year. Talk about some of the individuals. Maya Taylor, a great example of what they've brought to this team, and how they've grown this past year under your program.
Yeah, we're transfer you over here at Ole Miss. We take pride in that. We have 5 freshmen that have already committed, and I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go get me 3 animals, and I mean that in a respectful way, in the portal as soon as it opens up. That is one of that is our philosophy at Ole Miss. We want a healthy balance of both. Maya was important for us to have because Maya had a lot of experience. Maya has sat on the bench with a Final Four team. She has played in Elite Eight games. And for where we were trying to go, I thought that was important. Taya brings a level of toughness that does not always show on the stat sheet, but she is the muscle behind our team. Marquisha and Ilana, we recruited them out of high school, and so it was when they got in the portal, basically I just had to say, hey, I told you the first time you should have came to us. So we have a batch of both. I hate Ayanna didn't get to play our freshman because we think she's pretty special as well. So Ole Miss, as long as I'm the head coach here, we're going to have a mixed bag on our roster. We're going to have freshmen that we'll be able to groom. But I don't think you could be young in the SEC. The SEC is too good to be young because by the time they get older, you got the fan base calling for your head. So you got to mix it up with a balance of experienced players.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.